The Law Ministry is aiming to set up a public defender's office by the end of the year. It's part of efforts to provide criminal legal aid to more needy Singaporeans. This group currently has access to such aid through an agency that's partially funded by the government. There are also plans to expand coverage by raising the monthly per capita household income cutoff. Li Ying has more.
Needy Singaporeans currently have access to legal representation through the Criminal Legal Aid Scheme, or CLAS. This is administered by the Law Society's pro bono services and co-funded by the government. But authorities want to take things a step further, and it is now looking to set up a Public Defender's Office, or PDO. The office will come under the Law Ministry and will be headed by a Chief Public Defender. It will be staffed by full-time lawyers. In time to come, the intention is for the PDO to outsource some cases to a panel of qualified lawyers. The PDO will cover criminal legal aid alongside CLAS. Co-funding will continue for the scheme, but details will be assessed and discussed. The ministry says this will help preserve the pro bono spirit of the legal fraternity, which has been a pillar of legal aid. Division of labour between the PDO and CLAS will also have to be worked out. To establish the PDO, a bill will be tabled in Parliament. In his ministerial statement, Law Minister K. Shanmugam says his ministry studied the experience of 11 jurisdictions. He notes that Singapore must protect against abuse of the system. These instances include lawyers who overcharge, people who try to cheat to meet the eligibility criteria, and cases where applicants are perceived to be morally undeserving of aid.
The first two categories of abuse, we can try and have systems and framework to try and detect and deter such practices. The last category is trickier. Legal aid cannot depend on public outrage. We will need to think through and explain our position carefully to the public.
There is also a proposal to expand criminal legal aid coverage to cover more vulnerable Singaporeans. The per capita household income cutoff will be raised to $1,500 from $950. The income limit under CLAS, which currently covers up to the 25th percentile of resident households, would therefore be increased to the 35th percentile. All types of offences will be covered, with some exceptions. These include regulatory offences like traffic summons. Offences under certain acts that are meant to deter specific behaviours like gambling, organised and syndicated crime, and terrorism will also be excluded.
We will have to be careful about the cases the government funds using taxpayers' money. In other jurisdictions, expansions in coverage contributed to higher costs, and we will have to be very careful to try and not strain the public purse. We intend to put in place measures to try and ensure that aid is given only in deserving cases and try and ensure that the costs of criminal legal aid remain sustainable.
CLAS covered about 712 cases in 2020, and with the proposed changes, the caseload could increase by 50% or more.